What's up, YouTube? Today I'm making some modifications to my old Blues Junior. I had some issues with this. Volume was just completely cutting out when I was playing, like just intermittently, no signal of it happening or anything like that, no indication. And so I started digging and looking into the design of this amp and what maybe it could have been. And I learned a lot of stuff about the circuit board that the tubes are mounted on is pretty poorly designed, and then a lot of modifications that people make. Bill M, his mods, rest in peace. Not a lot of straightforward information is really available for that. So I ended up going with a different kit. I bought this a while back. This is the first generation Blues Junior. As far as I can tell, it was made around 1998, maybe 2000 or so, because of the date on the circuit board that you'll see. And the modifications I'm making today are, I'm adding this decal because, I mean, you can kind of tell this is super hard to read, and all the controls face the back of the amp, and I want it to face the front because I always want to be on the front of the amp, and I think most guitar players would be. And this is also super dirty and rusty, and I mean, I could clean it, but it's still rusty and gross. So this is going on. That'll be an easy one. Yeah, so I'm putting a new tube circuit board on. This is from Blackmagic Amplifiers. I got this on YouTube, or I got this on eBay. This is a much higher quality circuit board. It's 2 layers and has like through hole solder joints. I think that's what they're called. You'll see the existing board is very poorly made, and I'm not going to go through all the improvements of this, but it's a much better, much higher quality board. So that's modification number 2. And then I have the Supreme Fromel kit. So I can put a link to this in my description, but it was a little less than $100. This was about 40, I think, if I remember right. This was 20, which is way too expensive for a decal, but it's the only option. So yeah, so we got a lot of components here. If you want to see what they all do, just got to keep watching the video. All right, so first I got to take it all apart, and you might notice Dark Tower here. If you haven't read that series, you should. But anyway, first we got to take this back panel off. Watched a lot of videos, and they said to loosen the side screws first so you don't damage this, and it comes off a lot easier. Yeah, so someone previously put a new speaker in here. This is a Celestion G12 Vintage 30? Yeah, Vintage 30. And I'm sure it made a big difference in how it sounded. This amp doesn't sound bad. It just, I'm always comparing it to my Deluxe reverb, and the Deluxe sounds a lot better, especially the reverb. But anyway, I was trying to say that whoever replaced the speaker just must have been in a hurry or something, because a lot of these screws are super stripped. You can see the tip. I mean, this one's not too bad, but some of the other ones, like this one. This one's really bad. And some of them, like this one, aren't even the original screws. So it makes me think maybe this was taken apart more than once. See that? Looks horrible. Someone probably used a drill. All right, so let's carefully pry this off. There we go. All right, look at that. Beautiful. Anyone who's talking about opening up an amp, tube amp, always gonna get a warning about knowing what you're doing and, you know, making sure that you don't zap yourself. So based on the videos I've seen, the important thing to do is test the voltage across these huge capacitors here. I mean, these are 450 volts. I guess a lot. So I'm gonna go get my DC multimeter. Harbor Freight. They make pretty good multimeters. I haven't had an issue with this one. So I've had this unplugged for, well, I haven't had it unplugged, but I haven't turned it on for a few days. So I'm expecting it to be fine. But let's probe. So less than a volt on that one. Less than a volt on that one. Same. So we are safe. Good to go. Good to operate. $19.98 5C. The Blues Junior is designed to run the tubes hot and the boards are poor quality. The solder can melt and flow away from where it's supposed to be. This creates a bad connection and can lead to problems. One solution is just to reflow solder to the joints. And it looks like someone has done that because there's a lot of flux on these joints, especially compared to the other solder joints on this board. Don't forget to wear protection when soldering. Unfortunately, I don't have a desoldering iron or solder wick, so I'll be using this solder pump that came with my soldering iron. The instructions say not to use the solder pump since it can lift traces off the board, but all I have is the solder pump, so keep your fingers crossed. not sure what to do with these two wires since the new board is not labeled the same way that the original board was. Luckily, one of the LED wires was labeled positive on the new board, but these solder joints are not labeled. My solution is just to follow the traces on the old board and match up the ones on my new board. So you can see that the hole on the right has a trace going to the positive side of the LED. P6 green goes to the positive side of the LED. Using that hint, I can see that on this side, the trace isn't intersecting the LED at all. But over on the other side, it looks like the one on the left is going to the positive side of the LED, so that must be P6. The new 2 board is fully wired up. Some of these solder joints look a little cold, but it's because of the old solder mixing with the new solder. These solder joints on the LED look great, and there wasn't any old solder mixing with the new stuff on those joints. On to the Fromel mods. Okay, so this says to install a 270 picofarad at C25, and it says 271J, and this one is 152J. So I'm gonna assume that this is the 270 picofarad one because it's all I got. It says to install 0.1. This is a 0.15. It says to install 0.1 at C11 and 0.15 at C13. So these are obviously those ones, 0.1, 0.15. But, and they're the right shape too. But for the 270 picofarad one, I'm gonna have to go with this one. Just gonna assume it's that. Yay! All right, let's put those caps in. There we go. Oh, you guys can see that very well, but right there, got it in. Alright, that looks pretty good for my first time. Here we go. 100 microfarad. Alright, next up is cooling the bias. So it says remove R31, install a 33K resistor. So R31 is right there. Now I just want to bend these leads the right place. So that was to cool the bias, which is very important to help the new tube board I put in last a lot longer. So I'm supposed to bridge these two connections, and then this one would be a separate. This is connected to the tip, so that's the hot, if you want to call it that. Also, Nicholas Fromel, why did you send me two of the same color wire? Killing me. So now we've got the reverb mod going from C20 over here to R40 and R56. R56 actually isn't in anymore. Install 22 microfarads. So there's 22 microfarads, 50 volts in C3. All right, got that guy in. You can see right there. Got his legs stretched to fit the old axial cap holes, but that's fine. As far as I know. Install 2.2 microfarad, 50 volt, yep. That's 2.2 microfarad, 50 volts. That's going in C4. So I have finished the instructions. I'm ready to put things back together, but I've still got these two components left, 470 ohm resistor and probably, I don't know, some capacitor. And it's not in the instructions, so I'm gonna do a little research. This resistor was used for discharging the capacitors, which I haven't needed. And then this one, I still don't know. Don't know what it's for. So, and it's not in the instructions, so I'm not gonna put it in. The only thing I have left to do is put these guys in. Replace these ones here, these three. All right, I just combed through the instructions again, double checking everything, and should be all good to go. So we got our new board, new components on the big board, and now my next thing is to install that decal. So I'm gonna get everything here back inside and buttoned up, and then I'm gonna clean the top up here and put the decal on. All right, I mean, I don't really know the best way to do this, but I'm just gonna go for it. All right. I just took it off the table. I have my lap steel plugged in, and I'm going to be very careful not to get my hands back here, but oh, let's hope that it doesn't. Let's really hope that it doesn't just light on fire. Okay, and master's down. Treble, bass, middle are all in the middle. I'll do volume in the middle too. All right, I'm scared. All right, see if the light comes on. Yes, that's a good sign. Oh, there's way less hum. Oh, I guess we're about to find out if... Oh, there's no tubes. That'll make a difference. Okay, tubes are in now. And moment of truth. See if anything explodes. the light come on? Yeah, light's on. I hear a hum. Definitely less than it used to be. All right. Let's see. Reverb works. Everything's working. So I just want to add one more thing before I pack this all the way up. In the instructions, he said to dress the leads differently coming from the transformer. So he said for the same colored ones, you twist them together like brown, red, and green, and have them separate from the other wires, and that they should be crossing other wires at 90 degrees. So I did the best I could here, but apparently that'll make a difference in the hum. So one more modification I made was just adding a little dab of hot glue right there to hold on this reverb mod. I don't want this yanking on that capacitor and potentially pulling it free. All right, well that's the end of this mod. Looks like he's wearing a tuxedo. Looks so much better with this thing. And then I added on the Fromel sticker back here, just for extra proof that it is Fromel modded. I'm gonna annoy a lot of you by not doing a sound comparison, but I don't have good equipment with me to do a sound comparison, and I also live in an apartment, so cranking it up is short-lived. But it does sound better, sounds much better, and the reverb especially sounds a lot better. Yeah, I'll let the reviews on Amazon speak for themselves, but people have had a lot of success with this modification, and this is no exception. I'm very happy with it.